So a very important part of lean product development is conducting experiments. I would say that this is our daily meal, daily coffee, or daily tea. And it's worth to emphasize what are the signs that you are taking potential benefits from your efforts. So, how to conduct a good, valuable experiment and what to avoid. So, let's take a look at examples of bad, ineffective, maybe even wasteful experiments. So let's start with the second group. So what to avoid, examples of bad experiments. So if your experiments are vague, so we are going to test something, but we are not 100% sure what is it, well, it may end up with not necessarily the best possible outcome. The other example is where experiments is supposed to test a certain assumption, certain hypothesis. So you don't know which hypothesis is related to this experiment. So lack of this connection, lack of this link may also lead to a waste. Another example, well, we have defined our hypothesis, connected experiment. We have a clear setup. It's no longer vague. It's more specific. We know what we are going to test, but we are not committed to do that. So imagine a meeting, a conversation. We all agreed this is the experiment, and no one acts. No one acts, no one is working on this experiment to make it happen. So if you just waste your time, you do not put enough effort to conduct it fully, you may not be able to actually assess what is the outcome of that experiment. Last but not least, example, one of my favorite ones, to be honest. So conducting several experiments on the same group, on the same product, in the same area, and then waiting for the final results. Let me tell you a very important lesson. If you conduct several experiments, sometimes even if you conduct 2 experiments in this very same setup, you don't know which actions help you achieve the result that you get. So imagine that, hey, you find your new way, you find a group of customers that are willing to start working on your product, and guess what? Which experiment, what specific actions help you achieve that? When there are several experiments, it might be difficult to understand this relationship between the cause, between the action and the outcome and the result. So it's better to have one experiment at once. Starting with that, let's complement this with what are the examples of good, great experiments. So, of course, they are hypothesis driven. We have a clear connection. So, the opposite, what we discussed about bad experiments. We have clear time frame and organizational frame. So, experiments that are long lasting or never ending stories, they are typically not the best approach. What you want to do is to create a small hypothesis, then based on that create short test, short experiment that can help you as quick and as cheap as possible to find the answer. So that leads us to another important aspect, measurements. So good experiment will have some measurements associated with that. So you can assess whether you are happy with the outcome, and you can say like, hey, this hypothesis is true, or maybe it's not. So the best experiment helps you increase learning, does not necessarily proves that your hypothesis is right. So, last but not least, please remember that good experiment, effective experimentation, should end up with clear conclusions and potential next actions to be taken. So it starts well, it goes well, and it ends up with clear summary, clear conclusions. You have ideas what to do next.